dangers of depression. Top on the list is suicide. And that's why we're here.
So don't let somebody put you into depression by interpreting your life events for you negative.
My name is Kofi Bartels. I'm a broadcast journalist.
My name is Kinanee.
I go by the name Stanslim, aka the Music Act.
I think Right Minds and John Best have chosen a right area to focus on.
We have to learn how to look out for each other. Yes, things are happening the way they are happening, but it's not the end of the road.
Some people have already died, even though we see them walking. There's no life in them again. And I'm sure that a program like this will bring hope and bring life to so many persons.
This will go a long way to correct people taking their own life by themselves.
I believe that after this campaign, so many persons out there will be helped. The rate of suicide will be reduced drastically. Yeah.
I'm so happy to be part of this walk of hope. The walk against depression
is one of the best campaigns I've heard of, because that's the trend of the day, suicide, and the main problem, the main thing that causes suicide is depression.
Kinanee boy, Abuja B, Lagos boy, Agwa B, Auna day.
So next time you're looking for somebody to talk to yourself. Next time you're looking for somebody to love you, love yourself. Next time you're looking for some advice yourself. Next time you're looking for some strength to stand, look inside of you. There's a strength there that the Creator has deposited for you, and the best and most potent prophets of your life.
Hello people, what's up? The D-Day is here. You are welcome to the End Depression campaign by the Right Minds Network. My name is Angela Ihemjika. You can call me Mommy Chichi, your original gist partner. This campaign started some few months back, June 23rd to be precise. It was the success of the online campaign that led to what we are having today. So stay tuned, stay glued to your...
The act of a person taking his or her own life is known as suicide. In Nigeria, this act was seen in the past as a taboo against the Western perception of it until the recent alarming escalation of suicide cases in the country, claiming lives, especially the young adults who seem more vulnerable to this ugly incident. Worthy of note is the fact that one cannot talk about suicide without mentioning depression, which is one root cause. No doubt about that. It is in the light of this that an advocacy and a leadership non-governmental organization of like-minded young adults known as Right Minds Leaders Network organized an End Depression Campaign Seminar 2019 with the theme Building a World of Hope Around the Depressed at NTA Multipurpose Hall, Agbomma, Port Harcourt, to enlighten and sensitize people on how to be aware of the ugly scenarios of depression and in like manner deal with it. John Best Uche, volunteer director of Right Minds Leaders Network and convener of the #End Depression campaign, gives insight to the initiative.
I chose this because it involves the young people more. I'm a young man, I'm a young adult. Now, if you look at statistics, WHO, World Health Organization, has it that 800,000 persons die every year due to suicide. And that is estimated to be one person every 40 seconds. And coming down to Nigeria, it's about 20 to 30% of people they have this illness of mental illness, which depression is one. You see the thing. And it's not just anybody that is being or that are victims, but young people are more. They are susceptible to this more. And we are meant to understand that young people are the leaders of tomorrow. If the leaders of tomorrow take their lives today, what becomes the future? Your guess is as good as mine. You get the thing. So we decided to come up with this campaign because you cannot talk about suicide without the mention of depression. So for us to deal with suicide, we had to first challenge depression, and not just challenging it, but killing it, ending it. We are out to end it. How do we intend to do that? It is by enlightening people of how to be observant of their world, how to be their brother's keepers and all that. When you're your brother's keeper, it means that you're going to, when you see your brother or sister around you, you're going to look at him or her and you get to know whether or not things are wrong or right with the person. And by that, you'll be able to provide solutions the best way you can. It's not about money. You don't have the money, yes, but you have a word to give to them. Hey, this challenge you're going through is not the end of the world. You can come out of it. Give the person a word of encouragement. That's what. And Right Minds Network, we're out to do this. It's a network of like-minded young adults.
The End Depression campaign is a necessity. So it's not something we gamble with because of the recent happenings. So depression and depression leading to suicide is what is common. It has now become a trend. You see youth, anything, they just give up. They feel like the next thing is to end it all. So because we saw it like it's becoming too much, John Best, being the convener, he brought the idea, and I saw it as something very, very important. That's why I had to come all the way from Delta State. So it's something we all need. We all need to put our hands on deck to combat it. And the part of it is that we Nigerians, we see depression as the white man thing. So even when we are depressed, we don't know. We just think we can smoke it away, party it away, until it now gets to that stage when suicidal thoughts start coming in. So we feel maybe this is our own little way to create awareness and to build a word of hope around the people.
Organize this seminar to sensitize us, to enlighten our young people especially. It is not just the young, it is a battle for everybody. It is a battle for the young, for the old, the rich, the poor. Mention those categories of persons, for everybody. So the young are gathered, the adults are gathered here with us to get enlightened, to get sensitized on their roles as individuals, as neighbors around ourselves, to help build a world of hope around the depressed. We want to see a society where everybody is his or her brother's keeper. By that I mean, when you see somebody around you, you should be observant enough to know when things are wrong or things are right with the person, and then know how to help the person out of his or her situation. That is the essence of this gathering. The seminar featured talks by experts on matters of depression and public figures such as Prof.JB Kinanee of the Department of Psychology, Guidance and Counselling, Ignatius Ajuru University of Education, represented by Reverend Fiberesima Elliot, a counseling psychologist. Pharmacist Agbomma Esom-Ibe, Chairman, Association of Community Pharmacists of Nigeria, River State Chapter. Kofi Bartels, a broadcast journalist and OAP with Nigeria Info FM, amongst others.
What are the likely symptoms, the signs that could show to us that this person is probably depressed? So these are the three key things we'll be doing in a short while. First and foremost, let me draw a line between grief, sadness, and depression. Once upon a time, as you grow up in life, as you interact with your environment, the social environment, the physical environment, and others, you certainly will come across circumstances that are challenging. It wouldn't be all rosy all the way. In school, at work, at home, in marriage, in business, in ministry, everywhere you find challenges. And usually, there is a natural tendency when things go contrary to your expectations that you feel somewhat grieved, you feel somewhat sad. Now, basically, when we get that disturbed on the inside, we tend to retreat to our shell, to meditate, to think, and perhaps develop ideas to solving, to overcoming that challenge. Now, at that moment that you are sad, you are grieved, it is not to say that you are depressed. Are you getting the point I'm trying to establish? It is not to say that you are depressed. Sadness. The Bible says there is a time to be happy, there is a time to be sad. Okay, so how do we know when someone is depressed? When that grief, when that sadness basically becomes prolonged for about a period of not less than 2 weeks, and then when it becomes severe, so 2 adjectives, severity and protraction. When it becomes prolonged, when it becomes severe, we say depression has set in. Therefore, we say a person is depressed when he is low in the way he thinks, the way she feels, the way he acts, feeling dejected, feeling helpless, or feeling hopeless. And this feeling has lingered for up to about 2 weeks, 14 days. So that person is depressed, and then there needs to be an urgent intervention to helping him or out of that trouble. It is a trouble because in psychology it's called a disorder, a depressive disorder. It's a mood disorder. It's a disorder because it's a deviation from the normal life. And the consequences will definitely show that this person has moved away, is no more functioning the way he or she is expected to function as a normal person. The next question we will need to ask is, what are the possible causes of depression? You remember only a few years back, there was this orientation about Nigerians that we love our lives. That even at the point of death, Nigerians would love their life, no matter how bad the situation was. We heard of suicide in the US, we heard of suicide in developed countries. We never had a record of one because of the conviction that Nigerians value life no matter what happens to them. But you know that the trend has changed. The trend has changed. Nigerians now, especially young Nigerians, they lack in taking their lives. Now it shows that ultimately suicide is the last bus stop for a depressed person. Alright, having established that, the most important thing that I'd like to share with us this afternoon about the cause of depression has to do with our cognition. I'd like us to say cognition. I'd like us to say cognition. As a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. Now, experts, there are research evidences that as you think, that's who you become. The mental processes, the pattern of thinking is what influences your feelings, is what determines your actions. So, happiness is a choice. living a functional life is a choice, not minding the prevailing circumstances. Let me take this compound word, and I'd like you to note it. I'd like you to note it because I'll discuss around it. Cognitive triad. I'd like you to take note of the word cognitive triad. T-R-I-A-D, triad, just means three things. Okay, experts have shown to us that every man's behavior is influenced by his attitude to these three things. First, they are your experiences in life. Two, they are about your very self, and then your future. Depression comes in when there is a constant misinterpretation or a constant negative interpretation about the experiences that you go through in life. I don't know if you get the point. Everyone is exposed to events in life, good or bad. So don't let somebody put you into depression by interpreting your life events for you negatively. The other second of the triad is about yourself. Some people look at themselves and feel inferior suddenly because I'm not meeting up with my friends. No, all fingers will never be equal. Never be equal. As short as this one is, pull it out and you will understand the indispensability of this. This one cannot do. These four put together can't do what this one is designed to do. So you don't need to struggle to be as tall as this other one. Just be happy with yourself. In spite of the negative circumstances, somebody said that you will never succeed until you have failed, because failure is the battle to success. And nobody has actually failed until he ceases to live. As long as there is life, there is an opportunity to try again. So it's a necessary bus stop. That you fail doesn't mean, or you attempted something and you couldn't get at it, doesn't mean to say that you are a non-entity, you are good for nothing, you can progress. No. Always have positive self-esteem. Build positive self-image about who you are. But when your interpretation of who you are is continuously negative, you certainly will be depressed. But let me show you just a brief of a few things that will make you know that you're getting depressed. If you last for about 2 weeks, suddenly you don't have to try again for life. Suddenly, you have lost the desire to even eat, to sleep, insomnia we call it. You feel like I want to shut out, just let me be alone. To talk with friends become a problem. To go to work is like you're forced to go to work. To do anything is like some people call some set of Christians, they call wheelbarrow Christians. It's like somebody has to will you to do those things, you know. And so you've lost the zeal for living. For you, there is no meaning to life anymore. Perhaps the best person are going to take your life, so you have your peace, because it's believed that those who die rest in peace. That's what that is. So once you discover yourself in scenarios like this, know that depression has set in. What you need to do is to seek help. Seek help from a medical doctor, from medical practitioners. Seek help from counseling psychologists. Seek help from anybody that can give the help that you need. But then there are a few things you can do to live a depressed-free life. Constant physical exercise, good sleep, good diet, and the rest. Thank you.
In such a situation, when nobody feels in conversation, to me it's like the world is closing up. Emptiness I feel when my tears drop. Living all alone in your own world, and suddenly things started changing. And then I look up to the sky, happy so I can make it. With you by my side, you can make it. we can achieve our dream. If you believe, now listen, try to express how you feeling. No one is impressed, so the leaving. To use like the earth you will put up, so that you will fall but never give up. Feeling bad alone in your own world, suddenly things started changing. And then I look up to the sky, oh, so I can make it. With you by my side, you can make it. Well, at least that's right, yeah. Right here, we can achieve your dream. Oh, if you believe, say it's just for a while. You will just smile, and then you will smile. Everything will be fine. Everybody, let's go. It's just for a while.
There are people who cannot handle loss. I had a classmate whose husband died after their second baby. For 2 years, she refused anybody burying her husband. She said that her husband was still alive, that's not what God told her. That God told her Stanley was still alive. The man was in the mortuary for 2 years. The man's family had to go and forcefully take the body and bury the man. And that was when healing started. So it's not everybody that can handle loss. Some people, it just takes their whole brain. And then conflict could be marital, family conflict, community conflict, abuse, physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. When a woman is sexually abused, she becomes a sad person and it can degenerate into depression. Physical abuse, emotional abuse. Some people abuse people emotionally that you begin to wish that they should beat you. So people might kill me and then I die. Do you understand? So those things can predispose someone to depression. Life events, some people when they get a new job, they get depressed. That's the irony. They can't cope with the pressure. I want to work in Shell. Then you get into Shell and you know you have to wake up by 4 a.m. and go to bed by 12 a.m. You see the man being so unhappy or the woman. You don't have time for anything. Again, loss of job, marriage. In this age and now, where we tell ourselves a lot of lies, you know, because you want to marry a man that has a car, he will go and borrow cars from his friends. At the end of the day, after your wedding, all the people who own the cars will come and take them. You see, they get seriously unhappy. It's not what you bargained for. And then you're doing social media things, where you make up, what do they call it again, makeover. You're very yellow, and when he marries you, you're very dark, eventually. So you see sadness and depression is not what I bargained for. Divorce, retirement, having a baby. How many of us have heard about postpartum depression? Where a woman after delivery is sad. The sadness, initial sadness is called baby blues. That's what it's called. That's baby blues. Especially first babies. She's not used to all that. Someone is crying. And then maybe there was this courtship and honeymoon period. She was the center of attraction. And then she suddenly delivers this baby. And then the attention shifts to the baby. And the baby won't give her peace. She doesn't even know where her eye pencils are. The eyelashes are falling off. And the hormones are just pushing all over the place. So you see a woman having baby blues. And then if not handled, could degenerate into postpartum depression. A lot of people have it and they'll take them to the churches to pray for them. I know of a woman, they took her to the street prayer house and they shaved off her hair, chained her. Actually, her husband happened to be my colleague until I called him to order. And I said, that's PPD your wife has. And then ironically, things like menstruation and menopause, like someone said as a joke, all women's problems start with men. Menstruation, menopause, all those things. They also have a way because they deal with hormones. All the apologies to men. Lack of sleep for a long time, insomnia. Wake up confused every morning because you couldn't sleep. It could dispose you to depression. Cancer, chronic pain, anxiety, and then medication. And which is why we preach the gospel of that people shouldn't do self-medication. The average Nigerian is a medical doctor. I got it wrong. The average Nigerian is a laboratory scientist, a medical doctor, a pharmacist, and a nurse. He sits in his room and does the lab test. Madam, I have typhoid. He has done a lab test for himself. That's the man who drove from Lagos to Port Harcourt. I know how they do me. He has done the diagnosis, he's the doctor. When he they do me, I they each all over for typhoid. I know, madam, I know You know, you're trying to do counseling, say, no, see the drug why you take, Cipro, give me. He now administers the drug, is the nurse. Self-medication, there are some drugs, their side effects are depression. How many of us have heard about anafranil? Guys, why they inform my hand? I don't hear about that. People use it to increase their sexual prowess. But actually, anafranil is an antidepressant. And you're drinking it so that you win the Guinness record of sex. Get ready, you're paying for death insurance. You're killing yourself peacefully. A lot of drugs, their side effects are depression. So you do not take drugs unless they are prescribed. Or you consult a professional. So you don't get yourself into trouble. And then drug and substance abuse. Alcohol, shisha, monkey pills, similar, crack, Snow White. No, they don't count tramadol. Chill pill, fracas, those things. And then because we give ourselves unnecessary pressure, you see yourself sliding into depression. Signs and symptoms, he has talked about them, so I don't need to. The signs, sadness most of the time, especially in the morning, lack of energy, feeling of worthlessness and guilt. You feel that there's something I must have done that God is punishing me for. Says who? Says who? God is not a wicked God. He's ever so merciful. Lack of focus, one of the signs, inability to remember details and make decisions. You quickly forget what you're having a conversation with someone. You lose the thread. Lack of interest and pleasure in many activities that used to give you joy. You have always been an Arsenal die-hard fan. Even every time they lose 6-0, you still support them. Suddenly you don't even have time to watch football at all. You lose interest, going to the salon, you're not interested in all those things you used to do. Either you're not sleeping or you're sleeping too much. 2-4-7 you're sleeping. Restlessness. Thoughts of death, suicide, or self-harm. They have physical signs like chronic pain. The person, every time, oh my body, they pain me. It doesn't go to Pharm or nothing. And you can't trace that pain. Digestive problems, appetite changes, you're eating too much, you're not eating at all. Drastic weight loss or drastic weight gain. What are the dangers of depression? Top on the list is suicide. And that's why we're here. Another is addiction due to self-medication. Because a lot of people don't even know they are depressed. They blame everybody around them. And they keep on taking drugs. They don't seek professional help. They do self-medication. Self-injury, reckless behavior. On the back of cigarettes, you see smokers are liable to die young. And you see those people want to commit suicide. Something must kill a man. What are you not saying? And then, reckless sexual behaviors, accidents. So in your bid, because you're reckless, you put a lot of people at risk. Even innocent people might die in that car crash. Poor school performance for people who are in school, relationship breakdown, health problems, because the brain is already affected. Other organs of the body could also be affected. Loss of man hours. You don't go to work, so you're not productive. Loss of income. If you're a business person, business is nosediving. Because you don't even have interest in going to your shop or your business or whatever. Be the children's best friends. Fight against drug and substance abuse. Did anybody hear me? I am passionate about this particular one. Fight against drug and substance abuse. Half of the people who die, it's not because they wanted to commit suicide, but because they are abusing substances. They are abusing drugs, and then they go into this deep depression. And you know there's addiction to game. There is this game that's called Suicide. It was in the US, but it came into Nigeria last year, where young children play computer games. And because we are very busy parents, don't PSP10, we'll buy it. NP2, we'll buy it. Keep him busy, computer. 247, the child is pressing phone. And because we want to do other things and also chat with our friends, we don't watch them. You play the game and get to a particular level, and the next thing they tell you is it's time to commit suicide. And they go ahead and commit suicide. It's a game. Came into Nigeria. Yeah. So, we need to make the home a safe haven. A child was also playing that and was on drugs. A young adult, 1920. And then they heard voices that said, kill your mother, kill your father. He walked into their room, killed the dad. The sound woke the mother up. So the mother woke up and raised the alarm, but by then, given the mom a cut. And then they arrested the young man and took him to prison. Parents were pretty rich, so they put him in a comfortable prison. You know how it is. All fingers are not equal. So in the same way, the young man also started hearing voices. Cut it, cut it, cut it. I don't know whether you know what he was being told to cut. Cut it, cut it, cut it. And somehow he got a blade and chopped off his balls and flushed it down the lavatory of that prison. So it's not because he wanted, but he was on medication. He was on drugs, rather. He was abusing drugs, and then he was playing the suicide game. Anything I tell you here, take it to the bank. I'm talking about real life experiences. Parents, the home, the churches and the mosques should initiate sex education. Tell your children who not to touch them and where not to touch them. That's sex education. Tell them when to shout. When they talk to you. How not to sit on a man's laps. Who not to call uncle. Am I making any sense? I've seen a 2-year-old girl that was abused sexually, and the parents were clueless. They brought the girl to the pharmacy, and the girl's private part was charging like an egusi soup, melon soup that had soured for 48 hours. And when I asked the father, I said, who in your compound do you think is this crazy or perverted? He said, everybody carry her, they call her fine girl. I said, no, well, really don't born fine girl. We need to infuse family values and the fear of God in our family. Be alert and sensitive. Watch out. When people begin to do drugs, you will know. That child that used to dress well will start dressing shabbily. Will begin to do jelly. What they call jelly way back in the US is sagging of trousers. Because when you're locked up in prison, they'll take your belt so you don't commit suicide. So your trouser will come down and your boxers will be showing. But it's fashion in Nigeria now. Yeah. So you need to know same child will sag. We need to be our neighbor's keepers. Growing up, when your mother's friend sees you, you're going the wrong way from the market, she'll do great research for you, like slapping the hell out of you. Why does it not happen now? Communal upbringing. Teach children priority. What should they do first? What is the role of the schools and administrators? In 5 minutes, I'll be done, please. Make the school safe. Eliminate the criminal act of sex for grades. Bear in mind that suicide is one of the leading causes of death among 15 to 19-year-olds. Discourage bullying, body shaming, stereotyping. Look out for signs and triggers. The school and the administration should be vigilant. Train your staff to watch out for obvious signs of depression. Organize information sessions and mental health promotion activities to enlighten the students. Create a culture of safe sharing of information. Let there be a kind of environment where people can anonymously come in and talk to you or send in messages and get answers, feedback. Encourage sports, knowing the role of endorphins. There are chemicals we call endorphins, which are released during sporting activities. Those endorphins make you to feel painless. They lift your mood. They have the same effect like cocaine, actually. Did someone hear me? Yes. They have the same effect cocaine has on the brain. So you don't need to do coke. Do sports. You don't need to do tramadol. Do sports, and then the body will naturally send endorphins that will give you that high you need. For journalists and writers, Kofi, what is your role? Media either strengthen or damage suicide prevention efforts. You know that. There should be responsible reportage. Provide accurate information and encourage the press to seek help. Talk about the coping mechanisms against stressors. Encourage people, sell hope. Do not sensationalize suicide. There is a particular newspaper I will never read until the day I die. You know what was on the headlines of that newspaper? Man kills self and runs away. I was with my kids and they said, Mommy, did you see that? I said, no, I refuse, I don't see it. Mom, man kills self and runs away. He killed himself and ran away. How did that happen? It's sensational news. And employers in the workplace and managers express empathy and concern. Encourage therapy, foster safe work environment. Some people talk down on their staff. You will amount to nothing, your nonsense, can't do anything. It's wrong. And for health workers and caregivers, be vigilant. Be a good listener. Create time for the patient. Acquire impeccable communication skills. Not someone walks in and says, I've been having headache. Oh, I know your doctor's process is shaky. You want to practice your medical experience and knowledge of the person. Probe deeper to see if it's depression, because it might show up as a medical, other health issues. Recognize the signs of depression. Just listen. Recognize that you don't know how they feel.
I think it's a noble initiative because increasingly we've been seeing incidents of depression and life's been taken and affected by this depression. It's something that we in this part of the world thought it was the white man's illness, but now it's clear that even here in the country, in Africa, we have something like this, and I think Right Minds and John Best have chosen a right area to focus on. I think we all need to care for each other. It's very important, and we need to check on each other, but also we need to let others know when we're going through difficult times. Yeah.
Live band performance, music, spoken word, and lots of other fun activities spiced up the event.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I greet all of you now. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. But before I start, when I know say horn of Mercedes-Benz, they cause depression. Horn, pom-pom of Mercedes-Benz. When mommy they talk, it took me back. Do you know that when we were small, if we heard the horn of our dad's car, we were really depressed? Yeah, Kinanee boy, Abuja babe, Lagos boy, Agwa babe, Auna day, Auna day, Auna day, Auna day, Kinanee boy, Abuja babe, Lagos boy, Agwa babe, Auna day, Auna day. Now only for this country, snakes swallow money, politicians furniture, they deserve some accolade. Don't need them to crack one joke for 4 years. Sure, organizer, if you like the drop, for there they go. Now 1 million last, and they collect for show. You took there now, Mokem, press me though. Put your hand for your pocket, monetize my flow. Kinanee boy, Abuja big, Lagos boy, Itakwa big, Auna day, Auna day. Now listen, lean on me, no be press me die. We dey the street, still boys never fear. Marriage they hungry us, we no fit speech man. If you try and cross, you dey hold me money. Another MC with an MSc. I know they talk make it sweet, ask double my with two fine job. Now them they rush us. Now since my papa time gets down they pass for jeans. Now my son here. They feel me die, but it totally just shows don't they? People don't stop, put me call from London. Shout out to all the DJs where they play my song. Kofi, Mutumina the CEO. Yana, but I got entertainment now. I beg, make a little chickity break. My good thing small that
Listen, only big man picking, and your mother will give you something. Say, Mommy, I don't have appetite. You take grace. My mother give you food. You say you don't have appetite. 2 weeks. You dey on break. Food no day for you. They will give us pap, no drink.
So my sister, just yesterday, she no meet up to do food for her pikin. So me now, I can't take compassionate, I can't dey reason say, e no good make this boy go school, make e no chop anything. One aboki dey front of our house, na I waka go meet am, say make e make pap. May I give my nephew. And I no fit cry. E dey pain me, but you no go understand the way e dey do me. No be drink, dem dey drink pap. And no be drink, dem dey drink pap. Oh, why I go aboki shop? They say me aboki do pap for person. They do the pap finish, I see the person dey chew pap with water. Everything is hard in this nation. Where are we going to? Mona no blame Buhari say they travel. Mona leave am make travel. Even the air we dey breathe na hard air. The man has to travel to a country where he can receive fresh air. So say you no fit travel, no blame the man.
The world is a noisy place, full of so many opinions, so many suggestions, so many advices, so many people talking, so many things at the same time. Nobody is listening. The third world war is raging in the heart of every youth. Nobody is listening. Guess what? We are all locked up in the four corners of our phone. We have found solace in the comfort of an app. The reality is now in the satellite in the space. Everyday youths are dying of depression. How can we pretend we don't see that? How can we pretend we don't know that? Ironically, the same people who tell us to seek help are the same people who don't listen to us. They tell us, talk to somebody. If you are feeling bad, talk to somebody. And when you are talking to them, they are on their phones. Everybody's busy online typing. That is where reality now is. So the next time I feel the ache in my heart, do I run to? Little wonder everybody's finding solace in an app. And then advices are issued out from social media. And strangers are advising that child. Strangers are bringing things to the mind of that child. And tomorrow, they lose focus. So sometimes I wonder, who do we blame? Why over the years we have been treating symptom, we have let disease to ravage all of us, one after the other. Depression has been stealing every youth from the society, silent. So next time you're looking for somebody to talk to yourself. Next time you're looking for somebody to love you, love yourself. Next time you're looking for some advice yourself. Next time you're looking for some strength to stand, look inside of you. There's a strength there that the Creator has deposited for you at the best and most potent prophet of your life. It is what you speak over your life that happens first. Everything follows next. So look for that strength inside of you. So when you leave here today, I want you to know that one of the greatest gifts you can give that person sitting beside you, neighbor you meet next, one of the greatest gifts anybody standing beside you, standing around you, is an ear that will listen and a mouth that will tell. People are looking for ears to talk to. Would you listen to somebody without saying, I know how you feel? So go out there, give somebody hope, make somebody smile, raise somebody, hold somebody by the hands, lead them to bright light. It will not be the cause why somebody will be depressed. Don't look down on things. There are little things that matter. Give somebody that gift. ear that will listen, and the mouth that will tell. Peace.
Participants and well-wishers who witnessed the event give their impression about the cause.
I think it's a welcome development, first of all, in a country where many youths are losing hope. They don't believe in their leaders anymore. You go to school, you're not sure of a good job. Personally, it's not even about the white-collar job anymore. Even the skills, when you go, you get the skills. Sometimes even the capital to start the skills. You hope that somebody somewhere is going to encourage you. You go to the office, your boss is nagging at you all the time. You come back home, you have a family that don't believe in you. There's no hope anywhere, and people are losing touch of even the confidence that they have in themselves. So to come up with this hope for the depressed, I think it's a welcome development, because it teaches us we're going to be learning how to look at your friend, look at your brother, look at your sister, and know when they're going through tough times, and know how to encourage them that all hope is not lost, which is very important. We have to learn how to look out for each other. Yes, things are happening the way they are happening, but it's not the end of the road. A friend told me that at the end of the tunnel, there's always a bend, there's always another bend, that we should learn how to encourage ourselves. So for John Best, it's a welcome development, and I encourage him to go on. We're here as friends, as brothers, as sisters, as family to encourage him. And I encourage all of you out there, look out for your friend, look out for your brother. When it seems as if they are, going down, looking depressed, let's encourage them. Hope for the depressed.
I think it's awesome. It's fantastic. It's the best thing ever. And then it's timely. You can't talk about it enough. And to think of it as someone had the grace to think that this is worth doing. It's amazing, because people are getting the wrong impression. I mean, they think it's the cheap way out. You get depressed. Any of us can get depressed. And then it's a mental health situation. It's a disease of the brain. So people who, are depressed shouldn't be stigmatized, because it can happen to any of us. It has no creed. It's not scared of creed, color, religion, gender. It can happen to anybody. And if we know that, then we should create a world where people who are depressed will see that, look, suicide is not the answer. Cutting short your life is not the answer. There is more to life than just ending it abruptly. It could get dark, their light will come, it could get bad, it is going to get better. So creating an environment where people talk about building a world of hope around the depressed, because for people who are depressed, all you need to sell them is hope. Because what depression robs you of is hope. You're hopeless, you're helpless, you're overwhelmed, you lose all your enthusiasm for anything. So when you sell them hope, maybe, just maybe, more than 90% likely that they'll rally. They'll see that, it doesn't end here. It can get better. Someone was once here before me, even in a worse situation than I am in currently. So it's going to get better. Mine is not the worst. Let me look up to God. Let me smile, and look back. We're supposed to encourage them. Tell them their achievements. Count their blessings for them. So they'll look at it. Okay, I've done well. Just that this is happening, and it will blow over. This too shall pass away.
John Best has the right mind, so that's why we network. You understand? John Best is a great guy, multi-talented. Putting this together is a very welcome initiative, End Depression hashtag. Most times in our society, due to the economic meltdown and the recession and all of that, there are so many people that food are taken out of their mouth and they are really depressed. Okay, just take for example somebody that is employed in a company, let's say a federal government parastatal. You are given free accommodation and the rest. All of a sudden, the person, because of the retrenchment, you lose your work. As you're losing the work, simultaneously you're losing your accommodation, and you have like 6-7 children. The depression is crazy. So and before you know, you people need to notice how their friends' behavior changes. Most people are depressed. Most people act the way they act negatively because of just the way things are turning around in their life. and most times it might end with suicide. You can see, starting from within the end of last year, we begin to hear things like suicide. It was not in our will I say country before. You understand? It doesn't happen. Hear about a guy drinking otapia because the girl left him. Some crazy things happening. So I think it's high time we pay attention, to end this, because so many people we see walking, they are really depressed, but you don't know they are depressed. So many people are walking, but they don't like what they're doing. But they just have to be there to make ends meet, like middle class citizens feeding hand to mouth. So I think it's a wake-up initiative. I think we need all the media houses to flag this up and to push it. It's a really welcome. This is really unique and far from it. I think it will go a long way.
The hashtag End Depression Campaign Seminar, which is the maiden edition of the annual event, was preceded by an awareness roadwork tagged "Let's Take a Walk Against Depression." It was indeed a worthy activity and an encouraging experience to young people getting support for such a noble cause of ending depression, as some see it as a great privilege to be part of the cause.
I think it's one of the best campaigns I've heard of, because that's the trend of the day, suicide. And the main problem, the main thing that causes suicide is depression. So we fighting against depression means we are indirectly or directly fighting against suicide. So I feel blessed to be among the people fighting against this. And I want to thank the Right Mind Network for giving us this opportunity to be among the people that will help others out of depression and suicide.
Man, it's been great. I'm so happy that Right Mind Network is doing something like this. It is very imperative that we let this general society understand what depression is and how to tackle it, most importantly. So I'm very happy. I'm very privileged, actually.
I feel happy and I feel that it's good to help like those that are depressed. And I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun, man, meeting your friends out there and guys out there to tell them how to help people on depression. It's fun.
I'm so happy to be part of this walk of hope, the walk against depression. It's really going on very smoothly, and I'm proud to be among the team.
We all know that depression leads to suicide, and so many persons in the recent past have been depressed, and as a result they committed suicide. So it's a program that really helps those that are depressed, to help those that have the options of committing suicide. And I believe that after this campaign, so many persons out there will be helped. The rate of suicide will be reduced drastically. Yeah.
The End Depression campaign was born out of the quest to save lives, especially the young, and noticing the alarming increase in cases of suicide in Nigeria early 2019. The campaign, which seeks to reduce the escalating rate of suicide resulting from depression to the barest minimum, was first launched online on June 23, 2019. It spanned through 3 weeks of engaging and impacting activities such as talks by experts and professionals, questions and answers, speak out sessions and survivor series, all geared towards disabusing the minds of young people against nursing suicidal thoughts, as well as being conscious of the depressed around them and providing assistance when capable.
He said then they used to sing, and when your mother see you, they slap your head and you get it back. But nowadays, no mother is doing that. No mother is telling the son that success does not come from you wanting to be the big musician. I've spent years practicing in the studio. No mother is sitting them down these days to tell them that. They always sit in my TV and say, see, that is your mate. He has how many houses in Lekki and all of that, and you're here wasting your talent. Go and become a musician. And they will take drugs and want to be like Timaya in one day. Please stay and correct those motives. Thank you very much.
We are most grateful to our partners: Nigerian Television Authority, NTA Network Center, Port Harcourt, the Peace Setter. 92.3 FM, Nigeria Info Port Harcourt, your #1 talk, news and sports radio station of the nation. 94.1 FM, Wazobia Port Harcourt, your Kajot station. Sharp Rentals, your most reliable rental service provider. And our individual sponsors: General Odede Stephen, General Officer Commanding Liberation Power Ministry, End Time Jesus Army, Air Force. Dr. Bestman Ojigini, Executive Director, Bestogi's Orthopedic and Rehabilitation Foundation, Port Harcourt.
End depression and suicide.
Next year's edition of the #End Depression campaign seminar promises to be more enlightening and impacting. You cannot afford to miss being part of it. Right Minds Leaders Network, impacting our world.